Hi guys, and welcome to another session of Honest Talk About Women, where you'll learn tips, tricks and strategies on how to navigate the minefields of dating and relationships. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also comment in the comment section. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm. So let's get into it. This video is about bedroom intimacy, basically how to bang your woman. So there's no formal training given here, guys. It's not something you learn at school, college, university, online tutorials, from a book from the library. This is something that you need to learn by practice. And most guys go through life completely dormant, as well as women. They go through life completely dormant and not enjoying the experience. So no one is born with it, guys. So if you see someone who comes across as a bit of a Casanova, they're not born with it, okay? They develop it, and you develop it from experiences. And the only way to do it is to get out there and meet women and have intimate relationships, and you learn your own unique style. So also it depends on a person's sex drive. So certain people are wired up from day one, some with very low sex drive and some with very high sex drive. And you need to know where you are on that scale. It's pretty normal out there, guys, for a guy to jump on his woman for 3 to 5 minutes, offload, and the woman's in the starfish position, and it's all over. And it's no more than a 5-minute exercise, and it's just one position. And that's your typical couple out there. And not a lot of people progress on from that. They think that is the norm. And I can assure you that is not the norm. And don't feel embarrassed, because I went through this and I was the 3 to 5 minute man on a starfish lady, and it was one position, missionary only, and I thought that was it. And it's not until I developed experiences with other people that I developed a completely different style. Let's briefly talk about the world famous boxer Mike Tyson. Do you think he would have learnt to become the world's killer boxer in his prime if he was learning how to box through a book or an online course or online tutorial? Okay, the way Mike Tyson became the best in his profession was practice, practice, practice. So he got into the ring, he trained against other people, and he started to develop a style. Mike Tyson became who he was by getting into the ring. So he didn't read books. He didn't do online tutorials, how to box by reading a book. He became what he was through practice and practice and practice. Yes, he was born with good genes. He was had the aggressive streak. He had the mental attitude, but he wouldn't have developed to who he became if he had not had the practice that he got and the experiences that he received. And this is no different from a guy developing a good bedroom intimacy style. So let me tell you a bit about my experience. It was something that I wanted to get done. I just couldn't wait until the day. And when I was 16, that was my first time, and it was a clumsy exercise. And I thought, Jesus Christ, if this is what it is, it's grossly overrated. And it was simply because I had no training, and there's no training out there to give. So not complaining. I went on, the years went on, and I had some short, very brief girlfriends. But until I had my first real intimacy was in my mid-20s. So I had my first live-in girlfriend. And that's where we were just totally fascinated with each other's bodies, and were having a good sexual, healthy relationship for the first 6 to 9 months. And some people call it the honeymoon phase. We weren't married. It was just a live-in relationship, unmarried. But as the years went on, the sex gradually died out. And she was a person who sought her happiness from external forces. So if work was going well, she was happy. If she was in a good social setting, she was happy. If her parents are happy, she was happy. So I was the opposite. I'm an internal person. I'm happy regardless. A lot of stuff outside my world doesn't affect me. I'm not influenced by politics or my work or my job. Yes, you have frustrating days, but tomorrow's a new day and new challenges. So put what happened yesterday behind you and see what you can accomplish the next day. So we eventually drifted apart. The sex became non-existent. Basically, it was the 3 to 5 minutes on top of her. She was in a starfish position, and that, I believed at that time, was how things should have been done. So back out in the dating world, and I stumbled across a woman who was quite a few notches up on me on the sexual front, and she was younger than me. So she was 27 at the time, I was 29. She was the only girl I've ever met that came to being a nymphomaniac. Okay, she could not get enough sex, and she told me quite freely of her previous sexual exploits. And the more I dug into her psyche, the more I thought she had some sort of early childhood trauma that turned her into who she was. And I remember her telling me very briefly, because she was a semi-religious person. She went to church every Sunday, and she told me about the story about confessions with the priest and how it turned out to be a very negative experience, and it had a big impact on her life. So it's very interesting how the early environment can shape people, some for the better and some for the worst. This is the first time I've ever come across a woman who gave me feedback in the bedroom. And I remember our very first encounter. We had a session. I did the jump on, jump off, 3 to 5 minutes. And she said, "Is that it, Scott?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, I've got some more work to do." And she pulled out her vibrator and relieved herself that way. And immediately I understood that she wasn't satisfied and I needed to do some work. So over the coming months, we developed a rhythm, and I could see and hear her comments becoming more and more friendly. So she started to state, "You're getting better, Scott." And that's exactly it, Scott. To 6 months later, "That's amazing, Scott. You are amazing." So unfortunately, that relationship went nowhere because there's an unfortunate issue. I remember one afternoon she invited me to her place for an afternoon barbecue, and I was about to leave, and she said, "You're not leaving until it's consummated, Scott." So we had a session, and before the session started, I had pretty much a full bladder, but not enough to go to the toilet. So after the session, I went to the toilet, came back, and I caught her trying to empty the condom inside her. So I told her immediately, "The trust has been broken. You can't do that." And I consider our relationship off. She was very upset, apologized, said she would never do it again, but I couldn't trust someone like that. And eventually she wasn't pregnant, which was fantastic, because that would have set me back quite a bit of money in terms of child support and maybe other payments. But luckily I was not, I did not become a father. So just as a side note, I caught up with this lady about a year after we'd broken up, just accidentally bumped into her, and we caught up on each other's news, and she was pregnant. And I couldn't really tell at the time that she was pregnant, but she told me exactly what brought it about. And I just couldn't believe her story. She told me that she was lonely one night and she wanted kids, and she wasn't getting any younger. And she went to the pub, which had a lot of young guys, and she just selected the best looking guy in the gene pool, tall, dark and handsome, 6 foot plus, nice dark hair, and took him back to her house, and she got pregnant with the baby. And she got a very, as she was saying, she's going to go for full child support payments, and she wants to be a stay-at-home mum. So in some ways, I may have passed the buck to someone else. and some other guy who let his urges overtake his sensibilities had incurred a very significant and expensive session one night by having to future payments of the first 18 years of child support payments. So another story, another day. At the end of that relationship, I felt very comfortable that I had done my apprenticeship. I was very comfortable that I knew how to satisfy a woman in a bedroom. And I'd done my apprenticeship, I had graduated, and I'd moved on. So those sorts of women are very few and far between. I'm not too sure what percentage of the female race are nymphomaniacs. I'm sure it's single figures. It'd be maybe less than 5%. I don't know. There's no way, no studies that have determined that. But so most guys today do not have that opportunity for them. And it's quite surprising. You know, you talk to people, you talk to young guys. A lot of guys go to Thailand to do their apprenticeship, and they get their induction done and they do their apprenticeship. And it's a different avenue for a lot of guys. And it's amazing the amount of conservative guys you come across in life, you know, bank managers, accountants, whatever, who all do the Thailand trip. So what works for them, works for them. So there are certain things I've learnt about women. Most women crave intimacy, okay? So most women crave intimacy. They can talk a tough game and state a woman needs a man the same way as a fish needs a bicycle, as the story goes. I can assure you, even the toughest of the toughest women crave intimacy. Secondly, certain dirty talk in the bedroom turns on some woman, okay? So you've got to be socially receptive and socially aware of what women are tuned into that channel. Also, most women have a sensitive part on their body, and I'm not talking about the common area that men so desire. I'm talking about other parts of the body. So whether it's behind the neck, behind the ears, behind the wrists, on the side hips, on the inner thighs, there's a part that always sensationalizes a woman. And I came across a woman recently who's telling me that whenever she goes to her hairdresser and she's getting her hair shampooed and he is massaging her scalp, it really turns her on. So there's a certain part in every person that is very sensitive to being turned on. So another one is women love to be touched, okay? So you can do something quite romantic, guys. If you drive in the car, just put one of your hands on your woman's lap and she'll love it. Most women love it, okay? Obviously, she needs to be in the right frame of mind and things are going well. But most women love that. They find that very romantic. Another thing is women love to feel they're wanted. Okay, so your most valuable asset is your time. And if you give time to your woman, she'll appreciate that. Generally, most women will appreciate that. Another thing is money. If a guy is super wealthy and he doesn't have the bedroom romance aspect to him, the skills in the bedroom, he'll either lose that woman or she'll seek it elsewhere. So if she desires it and he's not giving it, there's a very good chance she'll either jump ship or seek it elsewhere. And it's common many, many times over. Many, many stories of that. And then some women who are absolute corporate female warriors, who are an absolute titan in their industry, those sort of women, a lot of them love to be dominated in the bedroom. And it's not uncommon for them to say, R-A-P-E, me. So it blows my mind away when they say that. But for lasting intimacy with a woman, she not only has to have a burning desire for you physically, but she also needs to fall in love with your mind. If you get both, so she's absolutely has a burning desire for you physically, and also a burning desire for you mentally, then you've got gold. You've absolutely got gold. And that may be the 2% or 5% that are in total bliss in a relationship. It's a small percentage. And with certain women, it's magic. It's absolutely magic. Also, as you develop your experiences, you'll notice that certain women are too big for you. There's a certain height that you prefer, and I'm 5'10", and my desired height for a female is 5'4" to 5'10", 160 roughly to 180 centimeters, around about that height, because it can lead to better bedroom intimacy. And I like a size 8, size 10 woman who are quite petite. So that's basically me for today. I hope you got something out of this video. It's something that you cannot learn by textbook. You've got to get out there and practice it. And it's becoming harder and harder and harder to find that woman. I know it's difficult, and I know some people go to Thailand or other countries like the Philippines and to learn their apprenticeship. And if that works for you, then that's fine. I can't say I've done that, but I was very fortunate to meet someone who was exceptionally high voltage on the physical front, and it worked out both well for both of us, and I was very lucky it ended the way it did. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and purchase the book Alpha Dating on Amazon ebooks. It can be in your inbox within seconds. Until next time, take care.